What's up everybody, I'm Das Food and I haven't been missing, you've been missing. Jokes aside, I did recently get married, and as I have adjusted to married life and as we've been going about things like the honeymoon and getting things moved, of course, I just haven't had a whole lot of time for content. So I am sorry that I basically took a month off, but I hope you'll forgive me and just know that I'm trying to get into some kind of schedule, but we shall see. Now, anyway, before we get into the future videos I've been planning and working on, I saw something on the interwebs that I thought was kind of fun and I wanted to give it a try. So the Twitter user The Walking Dead by Daylight, who by the way follows me, fantastic choice in Twitter follows, I am a hoot and a holler, and this person put out a template for licenses that you would like to see come to the game. Now, I am interested in going through these, and I've been looking at what other people have answered, and honestly, a lot of creativity, because look, you like licenses, I like licenses, we all like licenses. I promise I like licenses, no matter what some videos may lead you to believe. But I want to go through and one by one, I want to answer these of my own accord and see how you feel about these. Now, this is going to be the ultimate who let him cook moment. You are going to eat me alive for my anime answer, my comic book answer, my horror adjacent answer. I'm going to get in trouble for a lot of these, but hey, it's my list and I'd love to hear yours in the comments below. Now, before we get going, just a quick reminder, if you like and subscribe, it is statistically proven that your life will be better and happier because you'll get more Das Food, and what else could you ask for? So if you don't mind doing that, please do, but if you don't want to, whatever, I'll only cry a little bit about it. Now, okay, moving on and getting to the meat of the video. We start off with classic horror films, that's the category, and that is assigned as being pre-2000s. So this is the richest category. There are so many choices you could put in here. You could put in a lot of fan favorites, very obvious ones. You know, you could get in there with Predator would be one of the big ones that you are seeing a lot of. A lot of people are answering that one. Obviously, you could get Reanimator. That would be a very, very cool one that I think the people who would be excited for that would be very excited for that. And I'd be amongst them. Obviously, Candyman would be extremely welcome addition to the game, and extremely welcome addition to the game. I can speak English, I promise. But for this one, you just have to go with Friday the 13th. Yes, there are ones like Psycho and all that would be fantastic. However, to me, I am still going to die on this hill that until we get one of the bona fide members of horror's Mount Rushmore, being Jason Voorhees, I just don't think this one's ever finished. So you have everything you could look for in a chapter here. You have an iconic map. You have an iconic killer. I think with Tommy Jarvis, you have an iconic enough survivor. And then beyond that, you have so much potential for skins. You have Jason X. You have the one where it was the other guy and not actually Jason, and he's blue for some reason. That was fun. That was interesting. You do have the 2009 remake one, or 2010, whichever year it was. I think it was 09. But yeah, you have a lot of promise here. This is just such an easy layup. I know it's not the most exciting one in the sense of like, oh, well, anyone could have answered that. And that's true. That's true. But that's also because sometimes the obvious answer is the best answer. So we're going to go with Friday the 13th for this one. Moving on to modern horror, which is any film from 2000 or later. This is another very rich category. Another one with tons and tons and tons of potential. But I have been on this for a while now. If you've watched my videos about licenses in the past, you probably know I'm going to go American Psycho. I love this film. I think it's hilarious. I think it's unsettling in its own ways. It is really, really well acted, well directed. It's incredible. I love that the actual chase theme is fairly intuitive for this one. You would just have to have some DBD spin on hip to be square, which would be the funniest thing ever. I would love it. He's got the axe or the chainsaw as his weapon. Let's probably go with the axe because we've already got two chainsaw wielders. You just have a lot you could work with here. I don't know that they would be able to actually get the likeness for Christian Bale. And some of his comments make me think maybe he is tired of this character and doesn't want to be associated anymore. So even if you did a generic Patrick Bateman, it still works. Of course, he would have to have voice lines. He would have to comment in that monotone voice of his about, you know, various things that the survivors are doing, maybe perks they bring or items or something like that. But it'd be a lot of fun. And to me, that's my choice, even though there have been a lot of good options after 2000. Horror television was another fairly easy one for me because I know there are people who really love things like Supernatural, but I've never seen the show. I can't really speak to it. I think that wasn't Luther I don't know. I think it was horror television. I don't really know. But for me, it's The Walking Dead, which is fitting because, of course, The Walking Dead by Daylight is who kind of turned me onto this this line of ideas, or this line of thinking. So it's only fitting that Rick Grimes and crew joined the game. You have so many skins you could do with that. I mean, it's borderline infinite. I don't think there's really an iconic map to be had in the same way, but you could do something. The farm, the prison, something like that would work. And then obviously for villains, I think Negan has to be the choice there. It would be a fun one. The theme would be so great. I would love to boot up DBD and hear the Walking Dead theme for, a couple months. That'd be a lot of fun. Yeah, really, really solid chapter idea that I would be excited to see. For the horror game, there were a few options, but this is the first one where I'm not going to describe it, quote, as a rich, target rich environment, so to speak, because a lot of the top horror games have been covered, which is not to say that we're running out. It's just to say that the obvious ones have kind of been taken. Resident Evil has been taken. Silent Hill has been taken. Alan Wake has been taken. You have a lot of these that have been used. So I think for me, in light of the recent casting of Frank Stone game, which was made by Supermassive, I'm going to go with the hit that kind of put Supermassive on the map as a show of goodwill between Behavior and that studio. And I'm going to go with Until Dawn. And I realize that Until Dawn is very much a product of its time. And there would be people who would play it today and they'd say, I don't really understand why people went so crazy about this. But that's just because it was very much a moment in time. And maybe you can still go back and enjoy it. I hope you can. I still have a ton of nostalgia for it, a massive soft spot for it. But this really takes me back to a different era of YouTube, really, as funny as it sounds. Watching all the different YouTubers play it and react to it was just a really special time for a game that has kind of snuck its way into almost quasi-legendary status. And of course, this all is, I guess I should probably note, a lot of this comes down to the fact that they already got FNAF. FNAF would have gone here just because of what it means to the horror genre, but because they're adding it, I'm not going to cheat and put it here. So yeah, let's go with Until Dawn, because I'm just not as big on things like Bindi and the Ink Machine and all that. So this is my option. This is my choice, I should say, and I would really, really be excited to play as some of these characters. For the sequel chapter, it was tough because so many chapters could really do with some legendary skins, but I didn't know if I wanted to give them an outright chapter. The three that I really came down to were Saw, Ash vs. Evil Dead, and then the one I chose, which is Left 4 Dead. Left 4 Dead is absolutely iconic. It's absolutely incredible. It's one of the most important series to me personally, just in the sense of I don't think there are a whole lot of video games out there that I've spent more time playing than the two Left 4 Dead games. Love them both. Iconic characters abound. You cannot go wrong in trying to choose who the new killer would be. Obviously, it would be fantastic to get some of the original cast added to the game because look, Bill's great. I'm a Bill main these days. I love Bill and not just because we're both Williams, but in spite of that, I still think it's fair to say that we're lacking Ellis, we're lacking Rochelle, we're lacking pretty much everybody. And I know that there are going to be those out there who point out that we already have the skins, and that's true, but come on, it's not the same. Don't pretend it is. So yeah, I would definitely want a second Left 4 Dead chapter. Next, we move on to the celebrity category, and this one's tough because you have to walk that line. Do they have to have something to do with horror, or should they just be somebody who's cool, somebody who's funny, and they can't be a musician because music is its own category? So I considered really just going all out and putting somebody like Danny DeVito because we all think he's funny, and It's Always Sunny is a great show, and great as I almost said the Riddler, as the Penguin and all that. Lots of great options there, but ultimately I decided to take it a little more seriously, and I wanted to indulge my wrestling fanaticism, so I'm going to choose The Undertaker because I think he walks that line of being a spooky character. For those who don't watch wrestling, The Undertaker was this ridiculous but amazing character where he is, as his name would imply, an undertaker of sorts, and he's undead, and he can shoot lightning out of his hands, and you can't kill him, and even when you knock him out, he can just wake himself back up, and he was super OP, and he never lost at WrestleMania, no matter what, anybody says. I don't acknowledge that. It was a great character, really, really great character. And the best part about it is when you're talking about DLC, obviously skins play a huge part of that. Not only could we add The Undertaker, but he has a storyline brother who is an actual demon from hell that can make fire shoot out of the ring post, named Cain. Cain, like the one who murdered Abel. It's It's so bat crap crazy and it's so goofy and so fun. I love wrestling and I would love to see some kind of crossover between DBD and the WWE. So that is a pretty tough answer for me because there are a ton of celebrities who could fit the billing, but I'm also not really into celebrity culture. So I had to go with something that I actually knew something about. So we're going to go Undertaker on this one, get Mark Calloway into this game. And just being dead honest with you, if I don't know a lot about celebrity culture, I know almost nothing about anime or manga. My basic understanding of anime and manga is that as a kid, I read and watched a lot of Ultimate Muscle and Dragon Ball Z. And I liked those both a lot. I also did Yu Yu Hakusho, I think is how you pronounce it, and I loved that manga. I never saw the show. So I have really dipped my feet in the water. I'd say a toe, not even a full foot, right? I know a little bit about My Hero Academia because, of course, I'm very basic. So I considered putting Mineta, which I believe is the name of the pervert character, you know, in that show, but I decided to take it a little more seriously. And to the shock and horror of all the anime fans watching, I'm going to go with the most "this guy doesn't keep up with this medium" answer ever. I'm going to say Frieza, because Frieza is my favorite kind of villain. Frieza, to my understanding, is evil just to be evil, just because he was born kind of twisted, just because he's mean, he's in his diabolical arc. I love that. Give me the Palpatines, give me the Saurons, give me the pure evil villains. I love those. And I really think it'd be fun to see how he could be adapted. Getting Frieza in DBD's art style would be the most uncanny and terrifying thing I've ever seen. Yeah, it works. Obviously a lot of skin options because Frieza can transform into all the different forms, and you know, I've always thought it's funny that his strongest form is the scrawniest, shortest one, but okay, whatever. It's DBZ logic. I can't argue with it because I don't really understand it. So yeah, I'll go Frieza, and you are welcome to let me know down below how there are a billion better options than the one I chose. Just be glad that with my limited knowledge, I didn't pick like Kevin Mask or something. Comic book, I'm a little more confident in my answer here because obviously, even if you don't read comics, it's such a big part of our culture. We know these comic book characters. I remember playing things like Marvel Ultimate Alliance and all that, 1 and 2, and really growing to love the wide array of characters and villains in particular that we have. So I do want to give a brief shout out to somebody like Solomon Grundy from Batman. Of course, I don't actually know if he's an original Batman villain. I think he's somebody else. But anyway, really, really cool character who would work very well as a DBD killer. But I'm actually going to go from DC to Marvel and choose Carnage. Carnage is picture perfect for this game for a variety of reasons. Firstly, he's already overpowered, which is kind of the point of Dead by Daylight killers, is that they're way stronger than the survivors. They're way overpowered. But then on top of that, I think Carnage could actually make for a very fun power. His symbiote allows him to do all sorts of things, and I think that you really have just almost borderline limitless potential, both in terms of how to play as him and how to counter him. So a lot of fun with that idea. Plus, much like Frieza, Cletus Cassidy is just a real bastard through and through, and I think that he would fit very, very well alongside Clown and Doctor and the other killers who are just beyond stoked to be in the fog. Moving on to music, we have a lot of options here, and I will be honest, I almost went with Ice Nine Kills, but I ultimately chose not to, and it's because they're trying a little too hard. And now, I say that as a huge Ice Nine Kills nerd. I love them. I adore, especially their last 3 albums running have all been really, really special, really, really great. Metalcore, how fun. It's awesome. I love everything they're doing. I just feel like it's almost too obvious, right? They're dressing up as horror icons, and Spencer Charnas is all spooky and creepy and all that. Okay, I get it. I would rather pay homage to an OG if I get this one chance where I get to do my thing. So with that in mind, I'm going to go with Alice Cooper, who I think has really been on the front lines of being kind of the creepy one way longer, obviously. And obviously, you know, Ice Nine Kills can't help that. They can't help that they weren't born sooner. But Alice Cooper is a very classic choice here. Seems like a really cool guy in the interviews I've seen from him. Nice guy, very kind person, and I like that too. So I know that shouldn't impact if you get like a merch collection with DBD or something, but it would be cool. I think it'd be really nice to get the face paint available in all survivors. That'd be really fun. A lot of options there, but I settled on Alice Cooper, even though there are 1,000 masked or face painted acts out there that you could choose. I mean, maybe you go with somebody like Kiss or something, or maybe you go way further and get towards something like black metal. But obviously, I'm not a black metal guy. I think it's just, it's kind of cringy to me. So it's not something I would actively cheer for having in the game. But, to each their own. People like what they like. And for me, I like Alice Cooper. And here comes the one I'm going to really lose people on, but this is another one where it's like, well, if you've been paying attention to my videos, I've been very consistent about this. So for the horror adjacent / non-horror, I'm going with Jaws. And I know everybody at home is saying, who let this man cook? Get him out of the kitchen. He's awful. What? Jaws? Oh, that doesn't work. But yes, it does. I promise you it does. Firstly, let's knock out the obvious, the big elephant in the room. It's a shark. Sharks are in water. The entity's realm is not water, and it would not be worth coding it to where we just have like a water-filled map, right? Just an eternal water level. I understand that. However, as I've made the case before, this is a place where the entity gets to make the rules. Normal rules of things like gravity and all that do not work in the entity's realm unless the entity wants it. I can't speak anymore. Wants it to work that way. And that's just, I feel like this is such a malevolent shark. It's so evil. It's not a regular animal. So the entity would be tempted to bring it into its realm and would be tempted to give it some preferential treatment so that it could just float around the environment. It would be so cool to watch this thing, use its mouth to shred pallets. How fun. Also, sharks are wonderful. They're amazing. They're great for the oceans. They're overhunted, blah, blah, blah. We all know that. However, they're also terrifying. A great white shark is a terrifying animal, and to be chased by one would frankly trigger a fight or flight in me that I don't think I've ever felt before. This would be insanely spooky to try to run away from. So yeah, I love it. I love the thought of getting all of the original cast as survivors. You have 3 iconic characters. Getting to play as Quint, like, what would the stereotype around a Quint main be? It would have to be crazy. Like, they would have to just be the saltiest sailors in the entire entity's realm. But anyway, yeah, I choose Jaws. It's got the potential for a cool map, beach themed. That would be fun. It's got an obvious theme choice, which would be great. It's a terrifying looking monster because it is more monster than real shark. Yeah, this one would be fun, and I'm tired of pretending like it wouldn't be. Next, we move along to the original chapter, and this one is one that I will never shut up about. Give me a pirate, matey. Give me a pirate. I want some sea shanties. I want to see the Jolly Roger raise. I want to drink rum and shoot smoothbore pistols at each other. This is what I want. This is what I need. Give me the pirate. However, I had always said pirate and knight were my 1 and 2, and they gave us a knight. So I'm going to move the secondary option and say, I think an astronaut would be really cool. An astronaut would be very inspired. You could do all sorts of stuff with like black holes and all that. Very fun. Anti-gravity type mechanics. Very, very cool. I would welcome that as well as a pirate. Also, the clown was originally supposed to be a kind of modern-ish soldier, kind of World War I era. So not quite modern, I guess, but World War I era, which I think that'd be cool. I would actually like to see that. So I'm giving 3 for the price of 1 with the original chapter, just because I know the pirate was a little too obvious of an answer from me. And finally, we get to the honorable mention, any category, and I'm just going to keep going with these zany out there picks because this category basically says you can pick anybody. You can pick SpongeBob. You can pick Bob from Bob's Burgers. You can pick somebody not named Bob, because my first 2 examples were both Roberts for some reason. You can pick anything, which the thought of having the entire world of fiction to choose from, or real life even, is just absolutely too much for me to keep up with. So I almost went with Cthulhu because that would be incredible and awesome, but I'm going to go back to another one that I've put out there a few times. Oh, also another honorable mention here would be Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat would be great. I'd love to see it, but okay, maybe I should put that where Jaws went, but I have to keep picking this bone with the shark thing, man. I'll go with a Lord of the Rings chapter. Give me the Nazgul. Give me the Witch King. Give me Sauron. Give me something really cool like that. Star Wars would be cool too. A lot of very out there chapters that I actually think would be very, very fun to witness in that regard. But yeah, I don't know. Just give me the Nazgul. That'd be really, really cool. Obviously, you have a great theme to choose from. Howard Shore, what was it called? Knives in the Dark, I think was the Nazgul theme. Very eerie, very ominous. If you could set that to the DBD theme in some way, that'd be very cool. And obviously, they look intimidating. They're just horrifying. And since we already have elf survivors because of the D&D one, why couldn't we get, you know, some halflings in there? Why couldn't we get some dwarves? Why couldn't we get something like that? It'd be fun. I think it'd be fun. But ultimately, this was a fun little video just to put together while we wait to see if I can get some maybe longer ones, even though this one's going to be like, I don't know, 20 minutes or so. But anyway, hope you enjoyed. Hope you're having a lovely day wherever you are. Again, thank you so much to The Walking Dead by Daylight for this idea. Make sure you go drop that person a follow on Twitter. And hey, do the same for me if you want idiocy. It's football season, so I will be posting about the sports. So if that's not your thing, totally understandable. Now, go forth, enjoy your day, and until next time, I've been Dust Food. Bye, friends.
I've been dreaming on in my head like I've seen it. A life worth living is a life with meaning. I'll do what I love till my heart stops beating. I'm feeding this demon. Got a taste, can't erase bitterness.